Hello everyone, welcome back to the Smogcast, back with another interview, the one that you've been waiting for. This is the Dragonspiral Tyrants, Blunder and Ray. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
It's very cold here, but I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah, same. It's like 15 degrees here, snow all over the ground, but we're here for this interview. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say, and I know that most of Smogon is also pretty excited to hear how your draft went, and especially being the defending champions, how you guys feel the Tyrants brand is going to be expanded this SPL. Before we hop right into it, I would love to get a little intro. I know that you guys probably don't need an introduction, given your history with the site, but just for the fans, talk a little bit about yourselves and your history with the tournament. We'll go with Blunder and then Ray.
Yeah, sure. I've been playing SPL since 2015. It's my favorite team tour by far, and the Tyrants are my favorite team. I played SPL 9, 10, and 11 with the Tyrants, and then came back to manage last year. So I've been with this team for the last 8 years. I used to really like individual tournaments the most, but over time I started enjoying team tournaments, and I'm really looking forward to what we end up doing this season. Managing was my first time managing ever last year with the Tyrants. It was something new I decided to try out. I've always been a player, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to what we end up with this year.
Hello, I'm reyscarface. I'm a 29-year-old eye doctor from Mexico, probably better known in Smogon as one of the few fossils that have participated in every SPL since its inception. Shout out Sam Dragon being the other one. Probably was better known as a player back in the day, 10 years ago. But ever since SPL 8, 9, I mean, sorry, I've been more gravitated towards managing since starting that one season with Hog. And I've really enjoyed it. The strategy towards crafting a team, drafting it, making sure everything's going all right, and having fun and meeting new people and having the control to do that to me is very important. Last year was fantastic. It was a great team that we Blunder and I crafted together, and we're looking to repeat this year.
Absolutely, and there's got to be a lot of expectations being the reigning champion. I'm excited to explore that with you guys a little bit more here. Let's just dive right in. Again, I think this is the interview that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to the most. The first thing I wanted to ask was actually a question for both of you. Going into the auction, did you feel like there was a pool that was like the most challenging to plan for, or a pool that you weren't sure who you wanted to pick up for?
I'll let Ray answer this, since admittedly he is the more hands-on with the draft every time.
No, you played a big part too, buddy. Do not undersell yourself.
I
But
appreciate you.
I would say the hardest pool.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm trying to think too.
I don't think that there's ever a hard pool to draft for. Why? Because you should not be seeing pools in a vacuum. You should not be like, for example, GSC this year. There's a ton of good players. It's a deep pool. The decision should not become how much money do I want to spend, or how much money am I allocated to spend. It should be more of who do I want, who are the people I want. And once you know the people that you want, then you have to make a prediction as to how much they're going to cost. And once you have that prediction, it can be a really bad prediction. It can be spot on. But once you have your prediction, and you do this for every single generation in SPL, it becomes much easier, because you're not looking at each generation by itself. You're looking at cohesively how they will work in your team. How, by giving a little bit more here and taking this player, I have to take a little bit more from here and take this player instead. So it doesn't become it should not be seen as a hard generation to draft for. You should be flexible in every situation, in every generation, as to what you're gonna be doing. For example, black and white for most people is gonna be a hard this year. If you want to see it in a vacuum, it was gonna be a hard pool to draft from, because there's very few players, very few proven players. It's tough. Who do you buy? Who's going to do well there? Besides the three obvious options, the three top-ranked options. But for us, particularly, it was not an issue. Why? Because we always wanted Soulwind. Soulwind planned with us before the auction. So we know we're spending up to 35k on him, and we plan accordingly. The rest of the team is tailored to take the hit if Soulwind hits 35k. So it doesn't become a hard pool. In fact, it becomes very easy because I know exactly who I want. So that's basically how I feel about this question.
Got it. No, that's a really insightful answer. I love to hear about this kind of stuff, especially from proven manager perspectives. And I guess that kind of leads me into this next question. What did you feel like the biggest surprise was during the auction, or did you not really have one? I know you mentioned picking up Soulwind was basically in your plan the entire time. So were there any like surprises that came from that big pickup of Soulwind that maybe impacted your later draft?
Can you think of one right now, Blunder, off the top of your head?
I feel like in terms of a player, I was surprised by how the price. I guess Shitrock Enjoyer surprised me a lot because a lot of my friends are really high on him, and I asked them about him as well. BKC as well, who we had in a lot of our different draft plans, spoke highly of him. So the 3K surprised me a lot. But other than that, I'm trying to think.
I think I have one in the meantime.
Sure.
I as a surprise in general, I'm gonna go less with the player and more about the auction as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Something interesting that usually happens is the top players in the pool tend to go for a lot of money. Obviously, everyone wants a top player on their team. But funnily enough, this year, be it because less top players signed up, which could be a thing, the signups were lower in number because it's the end of a generation, and it wasn't that low. It was more than past years in certain years. But it's interesting how this year, if you check the final results, it was only, I think, 11 players over 20k as a whole in the auction. Last year, we had 22 players, double the players in SPL 15 going over 20k, and in SPL 14 we had 15 or 16 players over 20k. So in general, this was a very cheap auction. It was the average price of a player was low on the top end. Instead, we had a lot of players in the mid-teens go for that. So that's a switch from what's been happening in the past, and it's very interesting because this thing also lowered the price of the top end players. Again, top player 31k, that's unheard of over the past few years. Getting Soulwind for 29.5k, and if Fear did not have
less than last year for Soulwind.
Yeah. Soulwind was 30.5k last year, but then you had people, like you have the Baya price and other prices that ABR for. Yep. You have a lot of very high prices, and this year it being 31k and most players going under 20. Very interesting. So the surprise to me was having to adjust to this, because sometimes I expected teams to maybe spend more money on a certain player and then they didn't go for that. So now I have to try to figure out what they're missing in their lineup to nominate it in my turn to see if I can make them spend a bit more money so they don't spend on my players, right? So that as a general, the auction was a surprise.
There was a funny comment on the VOD of the auction about you, Ray, about how you did, unlike a lot of these other teams, you used up a lot of your money early, and then you gassed like every single player that was nommed so that they would have more money spent on them. I thought that was a pretty good strategy, a pretty interesting one at least.
Oh, that was a team effort. We were in a call, and Blunder would just throw me random stats that I had no idea of, and I would just spam them.
we were all in codes. Everyone had their laptop, and we were just looking through, and it was like, oh, last guy who did this, make sure you tell everybody that he did this.
Last Mind Gaming Slayer, last
guy to only guy to
Electro Creator.
Yeah.
It definitely made the auction a lot more entertaining. I will tell you that. As somebody who was just staring at a screen, making sure that it was going smoothly, I appreciated it a lot.
It was a fun auction for sure.
Last auction question, I promise. So this one's going to go to Ray again. Who do you think was the biggest steal on your team? I know you mentioned Shitrock Enjoyer. I am actually 100% with you. I think that 3K for Fradazi is kind of an insane one. But did you have any others that you were thinking would go for a lot more?
I think Blunder answered this with definitely Fradazi. Shitrock Enjoyer is someone that we thought would go for maybe not 20k, 15k, but we thought he would go for a lot more. So in the end, you can see us slow down a lot despite we had the least funds for like around 75% of the auction, and then in the last stretch of the auction, it switched, and then we had a top 4, top 3 amount of money, and it was because Shitrock Enjoyer was not nominated yet. We wanted to nominate him, but we weren't sure because there was one team that was missing an advanced player. So that's another thing. You don't nominate your players until the risk of them getting bought is gone. In the last stretch, of course. In the middle and for big name players, this cannot happen because they're gonna be nommed before. But so we couldn't nom him, and we had to wait because we were expecting to spend 10k, 11k on this player, knowing that another team needed advanced still. But the time came, we nominated him, he went for 3k, and that was ridiculous to us because he's a very high player. We have a lot of confidence in him, but that was surprising for sure. And also, probably our 3k SV lineup, they're not big names in the scene, but last year we won off of our 3ks in SV. I can tell you more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a lot of SV practice last year. And of course, I have to give a shout out to CTC, who was on our team, who's unfortunately no longer on our team, but he did a lot of support with the team building and basically teaching a lot of the guys on our team in battle, how to win and just how to, team matchup, how to identify threats, all the basic stuff. And that really impressed me a lot. I saw that in real time with CTC the year before. So I knew with SPL, because he told me he wanted to start, that we would have a good hold on SV. And this year I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, right? There was the big debate on how many SV slots were going to happen, right? If it was going to be like 2 or 3 or 4. And so once we found out it was 4, we went with our 2 retains, which, right, we retained my Java pretty early on. And then we waited a bit, and then we decided to retain Mata as well, because he had a great year overall. Not just with SPL with us, but also playing World Cup and SCL. He did fine. So we were pretty confident that retaining both of them would do good. And then with those 2 players taking up combined retained price of, what was it, like 20k, right? We decided to go with 2 players that Fusian, I have seen him play before, so I'm pretty familiar with him. And then VK is someone that my Java told us about from last year. So I've known about this player. So I don't know, I'm pretty confident going forward. I think SV is a tier where you just kind of have to stay on top of everything. You have to be playing a lot. It updates a lot. Text and all that stuff do matter quite a bit. And because this tournament has 4 SV, so it's 1/3 of your team, it's pretty important that you put a lot of emphasis on there. For example, we got hit pretty bad in the finals last year in SV. We went 1-3. Which is pretty uncharacteristic of us because we had a pretty amazing SP record throughout the tournament. But it just goes to show that a lot of things depend on SV, team building wise, playing wise. So I'm looking forward to it a lot, though. I think we have a great core and tried and true members from last year. So I think we'll be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, VK as a player, we weren't very extremely familiar with. But going through the transitivity rule, in which we didn't know about my Java, and CBB recommended him, and he ended up being a beast.
True.
We are willing to take that. My Java absorbed that, and then he recommended VK, and now VK is going to have a beast tour. So we're very confident in our SV core, despite some people saying that we probably have a lower end one. Well, they said that about us last year, right? And we ended up having the best SV regular season record with Tigers. So we're looking to repeat that this year.
Absolutely. Okay, switching gears a little bit, I want to talk about the team itself. This is a big one. What do you want people to associate with the Tyrants this season, or is there like a particular brand or something that you're looking to establish other than, back to back?
I was pretty. I'm thinking of something that Ray said earlier, where it was only 11 players over the price of 20K. I don't know. We used to see a lot of top-heavy teams, and I think it's just pretty interesting to see that a lot of the teams have or just in general, that all the teams have less expensive players than last year. I almost feel like that might have been because we had so many value picks over the years. Like, that's what Tyrants franchise is known for. And so I don't know. I kind of feel like that's just kind of what I associate with the Tyrants brand, at least drafting wise. Like Ray would always find like these value picks that would always put up like an incredible record. And so that's kind of what I just associate with the Tyrants brand. I don't know if that like really answers the question, but I don't know. I mean, back in the day it was like the trolling brand and all that, but not really like that anymore, I guess.
Okay. Well, yeah, and something that's 100% true. The Tyrants are the team that every other team, I feel, at least once in the season goes, they cannot keep getting away with it. I heard it a lot in the cast call. I heard a lot that they can't keep getting away with it, and it's just something that the Tyrants do. We get away with things because we're better prepared. That's it. But I would also like to add that the Tyrants brand, I feel like it's already in place. It's already been done. The Tyrants are known as a menace, as winners, as consistent threats that will always do well. So we're looking to continue that, to keep that mystique around the Tyrants being a perennial playoffs participant, and hopefully we can keep our winning ways, because before that it was really hard making playoffs a bunch of times to just end right before the finish line. It's tough. Yeah. It's tough mentally. It's tough to start questioning yourself. Am I really doing the right things? Am I really getting the right people? The answer is yes, we were doing them. But you start double guessing everything until you finally get the relief. Not the relief, but the excitement, the weight off your shoulders that is, okay, we finally did it. Let's just do it again. It's a different mindset. We're still gonna be the top team. We're still gonna be the team everyone wants to hate. We're still gonna be the team everyone wants to beat. We're still gonna be that team, but this time there's a little less weight on our shoulders about it.
Yeah,
for sure. And I really like that a lot. That's a very cool brand. It's always hard being the winners going into a new tour. There's a lot of expectations, I believe, that you'll be able to do it again or whatnot. So it's exciting that you guys have a little bit of a different mindset around it. So that's really cool to me, at least. Last two questions, but I'm gonna kind of combine them here. Do you have any newcomers that are on your radar, not even necessarily on the Tyrants, but just in general, that you're most excited to watch this year to see their SPL debut? And related to that, the biggest storyline you'll be following this season could be related to a player, could be related to anything else. I will let you know, and you will have seen the Tigers interview by the time this interview comes out. But Zomog did say that he wants the Tyrants to miss playoffs. That's his biggest storyline. So you can respond to that too if you'd like.
No, it's not relevant. Good luck to Zomog and his team. We broke the playoff curse last year because they weren't all that in the finals. So that's all I can say. There's a reason it was 7-5 and not 6-6, Zom.
Regarding newcomers, who might be a good newcomer? Do you have anyone in mind right now? Zomog, holy.
Newcomer, I'm trying to think.
I just insulted you.
Nah, you're shit. I'm trying to think.
Newcomers. Oh, I think you're excited about Legloy, aren't you, Blunder?
Oh yeah, CTC spoke highly of this player, Langloy. So I think they'll do well. I guess not a newcomer, but I think Pice is pretty good in OU. I think he always brings pretty interesting teams, and he plays really good. I'm also really gassed on Metallica, who we bought. Mm-hmm. I've always talked pretty highly of him since we got him in SPL, and CTC is the first one to tell me about him. So I'm really excited to see Metallica. I think he's extremely good in Generation 6 and 8. Really creative. He built his own teams in SPL as well. And he's one of those players that grinds really hard too, testing games and all that. So yeah, I'm really excited for Metallica. I'm glad we got a chance to buy him. And I'm just glad he's going to get a chance to play. Because like I said, I really I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, Metallica's a good shout. There's a lot of Horus players rank him very highly in general.
Yeah, and I've seen him play Horus, and I was impressed. He's very good.
Mm-hmm. The other newcomers that I can think of off the top of my head is basically the advanced pool. There's a lot of interesting players. Pac is not exactly a newcomer, but it's his first SPL in years. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's also very highly rated, despite not playing in a team tour for a while. So it's going to be interesting. On the same vein, you have Scarfrim. You have very interesting choices in advance that weren't there. In RBY, I can think of Nicole. I personally have not seen this person's games, but I know there's a lot of hype, and I know even Troller considers Nicole a competent player, and that's a lot. If Troller considers you to be competent, then you are worthy, so to say. So it will be Spice in our team. He's also not a newcomer, but he's coming back after a very big hiatus. So also interesting to see how it will pan out. Complete trust on him. Those are the newcomers that I can think of. Also Lass, not a newcomer, but a newcomer from last time he played. I think it was SPL 11 or 10 when he ruined our tournament. I don't remember, but I think that might be it. But yeah, I'm excited because he's a friend, so I want to see him do well. I want to see him reach finals against us, and due to the bigs what he did to us, that would be fantastic.
I would like to play. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the bigs. I'm looking forward to playing all these teams. To be honest, I think it's going to be fun. A lot of friends managing too is always fun. And SPL is the most dramatic tournament on Smogon, so it'll stay that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, someone was banned 24 hours in, which
And it wasn't our guy.
It wasn't your guy. It wasn't your guy. I was warned that SPL is the biggest, and there's a lot of drama, but also a lot of good storylines to follow. And I was around for the last year's SPL, and following the drama then was, or just everything that was happening every week was, intoxicating. It's just an amazing tour.
That's awesome, for sure.
I think you asked another question, which was the biggest storyline that we'll be following this season. I think the two things that I am looking forward to is the bigs. I want to see the reinvigorated bigs. I want to see how they do. I think they won't make playoffs. I'm not jinxing them, or maybe I'm jinxing myself with this. But it's going to be very fun to watch them. There's a lot of good players in that team. There's a lot of good guys in that team. And there's a lot of friends in that team. So it will be a fun time, except when we face each other, because I can see tension going up when we face each other.
That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
It's happened before.
I want to say one thing. Let me interrupt you one time. I want to say that I'm excited for the storyline of BKC being the DPP savior. 25k for DPP, and so DPP has taken a lot of heat recently when we're champ, and so BKC has signed up to save DPP's name. So that's the biggest storyline this SPL, and the one I'm most excited about, and the one me and Ray invested in this SPL. So,
well, if you guys don't have anything else, we can cut it right there. Yeah, you guys, anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to say?
This will be the greatest SPL ever, and I'm excited for all the hype stuff going on. I think it's exciting what they're doing, and I love the SPL mode room. I want to say that very loudly. I love the SPL mode room, and I want it to be used in every game.
It will be.
That's about it. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. A big thanks to the media team, the hosts, the directors, and that they're doing a very, very passionate job this year to bring it up limelight, to doing things to shake it up and have a better experience for everyone. That's really appreciated. And Yeah, it's gonna be a very fun tournament. Just looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, this has been Gold Mason here with the Dragonspiral Tyrants managers, Blunder and Ray. We're signing off. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Peace.
See ya.